Hello and welcome back to Josh Oddie YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about something that I haven't done on the channel before. We've done some on-course stuff but never really deep dive the course management side. And this video is solely going to be on how I approach each shot mentally and maybe like a little bit of a process that you guys can follow when you're out on the golf course. And I really do believe that if you follow this simple procedure out on the course, you will instantly see better scores just based on the mental decisions you're making. So sometimes I do think that score can be misunderstood of how you're actually playing out on the golf course. I recently played a match against Brandon and quickly noticed that his decision making is so elite compared to mine. And that's then where I needed to assess what decisions I was making and why they were wrong and how we can go about improving them decisions. I've implemented that into my game recently and it's just changed the way I'm hitting golf shots into greens, off the tee, and ultimately feeling a hell of a lot more comfortable out on the course. So we're going to play a couple of holes on the sim and really deep dive every single shot, talk through that process that you can when you're out on the course, and hopefully this improves your golf score. Just remember that golf score is not how well you're playing. I think it's how well you are making the decisions out on the golf course. You could be hitting fantastic shots, but just simply playing way too aggressive. Okay, so probably couldn't choose a better course to do this on than Georgia Golf Club. If you know, you know. Host the Masters, bit of a clue. So, first tee shot here. Now, one of the thought process that we have to do when we get onto the tee is where is our widest part of the hole. Now, I'm saying widest part and not widest part of the fairway because essentially all we want to do off this tee is get it in play. And what I mean by that is giving ourselves a clear shot to the green. So this tee shot here is quite an interesting one for a lot of players on the tour. So the front of that bunker is 281. Now, you'll see a lot of players hit driver, freewood off of this tee, depending on where the wind is. So that bunker there is probably at the start of where the widest part of our hole is. And you can see, just as it gets up past that bunker, it starts to narrow and tighten. So all of a sudden now, when I'm hitting driver in this position, and, you know, we can even switch this into, you know, imagine that bunker's 180 and then past it is 200. So, you know, this is going to be an example for all levels. You know, it's not, you've not got to hit it 300 to bring this into play. You can do it at 200 yards as well. First off, the swing now that I'm going to make in the gap that's past that 280 might be a little bit more scary than, say, if I brought that back 20 yards. And what's the difference between hitting a shot into the green from 150 or 180? Probably not a lot. Okay, so I've just hit a couple to warm up there. Let's try and hit this driver in between that gap then. Past that 280. This is a tough shot. Okay, just ever so slightly drawn this, but we get away with it. Just a touch shorter than what I thought it would be, but we get away with it. So that, for me, is a gap that is kind of accessible with driver. Now, if I just come off one a little bit and hit this kind of 250 carry. Okay, just blocked it a touch, but by being further back, don't go in that trap. Oh, it just stays short. But, you know, I can make a much more fluid golf swing and much more confident hitting something a little bit shorter and making it wider for me. So sometimes when you're on that tight par 4 and you're like, should I hit driver? Should I lay up? Look at what your options are around, you know, where that driver is going to go. If it's out of bounds right and water hazard left, it's probably not a driver. You know, if you're hitting iron and you're leaving yourself 100 yards, you're going to have a good chance at making birdie anyway. So it really is key making the correct decision. And then that also impacts how you're swinging as well. If I'm hitting it into a tight gap, I'm probably not going to be swinging that free. If I'm hitting it into a 80-yard wide gap, probably going to make a better golf swing now. Okay, jumper's come off because we've just absolutely heated up and strummed one straight up the middle. We've now left ourselves 161 into a flag on the right edge of the green. Decade is the system that I use, and a really, really good system. I'd highly recommend following this and going over to Decade's page on Instagram. They do some stuff on YouTube. Scott Fawcett is the main man. Unbelievable system. So how Decade works is essentially giving yourself a target that isn't the flag to aim at. Now, into this green, this kind of area off to the right here would probably only be like a 1 on damage and kind of maybe a 2. It would be a short-sided chip, so it would be a tough shot. 1 would be a very easy up and down, so maybe something over the back left edge here would be like a 1 because you're leaving yourself a nice easy chip down the hill. This would probably be like a 2 area here, short-sided, upper bank, tough chip shot. And then a 3 would be water hazard or out of bounds. So, you know, you're really trying to play away from that. But essentially here, we don't really want to go towards that short-sided miss. So now what I would do is with 160, I would be aiming 8 yards off of the right edge or left edge of the green. This gets a little bit confusing, but it will kind of make sense as it goes on. Okay, so now where this is aiming is 8 yards to the left of the right edge of the green. So this is now my aiming area, and if I've got a push, I've got room. If I've got a pull, I've got room. So now you'll notice that when we get back to the golf ball, you can see that this is now my line for where I'm aiming and the pin is to the right. So essentially what I'm doing is giving myself more room for error, and this allows you to make a 10 times better golf swing. Right, let's go. 160. Little 8 iron. Dial it in. So I've pushed that 7.8 yards right. Catch the right edge. And it does. So for a viewer perspective right there, you think I've hit a good shot. I've actually pushed that 7.8 yards offline. And this is probably what you're seeing on the telly. When you see someone stiff it to the pin that's right edge of the green, they've probably hit quite a bad shot. So, you know, it's a bad shot, but you get away with it because you've aimed good. So, let's hit one more and just try and actually hit my Decade point. Much better swing there. A little bit right again. But you can see that we're giving ourselves room to hit that shot. I'm now going to aim at the flag. Okay, so we're now aiming right at it. Okay, I've pushed it 1 yard. Might get away with it. Might. Prime example. Right there. Missed it by 1 yard to the right. And we get punished for it, you know? So sometimes you could be hitting fantastic golf shots out on the course, but you're just not aiming in the right spot. Okay, that was pretty good. Ignore that, because it doesn't really happen like that. But you get the point. Into the green is very, very important, and you've just got to be aware of where your miss is and where you don't want to miss it. Give yourself room to hit that bad shot. When I think of course management, this is a prime example of a hole that does just that. So, you know, how many times do you see guys just want to get a little bit too cute with it, you know, and end up hitting it right in the drink because they're trying to hit that tiger golf shot, you know, the one that goes really close. Whereas, like, you know, give yourself that room for error. The least I want to hit this is 100 yards. So, you know, we need to fly it over that water and make sure we're on dry ground here. Might go in. Much better golf shot. Margin for error. And essentially it's just giving ourselves room to hit that number off by 2 or 3 yards, and we still get away with it. It's still rolling, mind. It's what you get for 13 stimp greens. It's pretty tough. If that goes in the water, no way. No way. Okay, it's safe. Whew. But yeah, we're just giving ourselves room, and margin of error is a little bit higher. So ultimately, I feel a lot more comfortable hitting the golf shot. If we're trying to hit that, Sunday best one, sometimes that's why you're hitting a bad shot. Okay, a little bit of short game, 22 yards. How many times do you see this one? Oh, off the flag, finned it, in the drink. I'm trying to hit the super duper flop, look like Phil Mickelson, and you hit it in the water. Just sometimes, you've got to just play the basic shots. Pull out your 9-iron. Stand here. Do a little putting stroke. Don't break the wrists or anything. Just keep everything stable. Keep that triangle a triangle and just turn the body. A really, really simple bump and run shot will get you by most places in the world. Might even be too much. Oh, safe. So, that's a lot better, a lot easier. And ultimately, I just think it's destruction management is a good way of saying it. I'm trying to stop the destruction of a double bogey or a massive mistake happening. If you're making bogey, it's not a problem. If you're making doubles, triples, quads, that's when it's a problem. So, really try and limit all of the damage. Get your 9-iron out. Oh, and hit some bump and runs, It's not that difficult. We're ultimately just hitting the easier shots to make this really tough game simple. Okay, 18th hole at the sod grass. Prime example of one where you kind of have to step up and hit a good shot, regardless of what club you're hitting. Now, I'm going to hit the aggressive one first. But what I will say is I've probably got 10 yards of room either side. So I'm literally trying to hit driver in a gap 20 yards wide. And you'll see them boys when they step up on this hole, they've really got a strum one up here. Seven yards offline, should find a bit of fairway. Beautiful drive up the middle. But just for examples, let's just hit one, shall we? Hang on, this is just for example. I don't do this. I'm the #1 content creator in the UK. Okay, 30 yards offline. That was for example. In the drink. Now, sometimes it is okay to hit iron off a tee. If you're not comfortable hitting driver, don't try and do it. You're going to make a bad swing if you're not comfortable. So, go down to a club that you are. You might fancy just hitting 4-iron off this tee. And if that means that you're off an 18 handicap and you're going to make bogey, maybe if you make up and down, you're going to make par, do it. Because that's way better than hooking one into the water, making double or triple, and potentially ruining a round where you could have broke 80 or 90 round your favourite course, Sawgrass. So, it is perfectly fine to just stand there and hit iron off some tees. If that's going to make you more comfortable and hit a good golf shot, then trust me, that is going to help your score a lot more than forcing yourself to hit them shots you just don't want to hit. Okay, so this is for 18 handicap Billy Bob that's watching. You've left yourself this one. You got 220. You're on the absolute brink of your 3-wood or your 7-wood. It's a near-on impossible shot for an 18 handicap, I must say. But there is a safe option. If you simply just don't get aggressive. You pull your 7-iron out, aim slightly to the right, leave yourself the bump and run shot in or a pitch shot in from 60 yards. That's a lot easier than trying to hit your Sunday best with your 7-wood, slicing off the water, into the pin. Okay, that's not a bad shot. You know, it's safe. And that's what I would say. If you're going to hit your Sunday best shot, just try and hit it into an area or away from the area that you don't want it to go. That can be a tough one mentally. But if you're someone that slices it, stand here and try and finish everything to the right of where you're aiming. And that's a really good drill to do. And you can stand here all day and know that you're not going to hit it left. And that's sometimes why I say to people when they're slicing it, it's not really an issue if you know it's coming and you know what to play with. So, you know, trying to stand here and hit the dead straight one, and then you hit that low draw one, that's the problem. But another thing that Scott Fawcett believes is that one-way ball flight. If you've got that dialed in and you can stand here, aim out the water, and you know it's going to finish right of where you're aiming, it's a pretty good feeling to have. So that's been some on-course strategies with the #1 content creator in the UK. I don't know how long that title is going to last for, but I'm really excited this year to get out, put some rounds in, have some really intense matches on the channels, and you know, it's going to be pretty fun this year. So if you are new to the channel, please drop a like on this video, subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. And I just want to say a big thank you to each and every single one of you for commenting, liking, subscribing, supporting what I do. It allows me to do something that I love every single day. So big thanks to each and every single one of you. Make some good decisions out on the golf course next time you play, and we will see you all for the next one. Good luck.